medical outreach program in the FCT. We'll begin with the Science and Tech Expo 2020. The federal government has announced the award of full scholarship up to PhD level to 3 secondary students who emerged winners of the 2020 Young Nigerian Scientists Presidential Award competition. President Muhammadu Buhari, who made this known at the opening of this year's Science, Technology and Innovation Expo in Abuja, said the scholarship is in any science-related discipline of winner's choice at any university in the country. Let's hear from State House correspondent Adamu Sambo.
The scholarship award winners were Akintade Ablai Akombi from Oshogbo Government High School, Osun State, Uwakwe, Nelson, Kamsi Ochuku, British Spring College, Oka, Anambra State, and Aimofunwe, Esiogbome Sigmus from the School of the Gifted, Gwagwalada, Abuja. They emerged the first, second, and third positions respectively from the very competitive grassroots mobilization program aimed at identifying the best promising young scientists from across the 774 local government areas of the country. President Muhammadu Buhari, who commended the young scientists for their creativity and competitive spirit, described as reassuring that the nation's talented youth are constantly pushing and striving for greatness.
The future of Nigeria belongs to our youth. This administration will therefore continue to create the enabling environment for them to develop to the fullest their potentials. We will harness their energy and their talents to make Nigeria achieve true greatness. We will also continue to encourage the science, technology, and innovation sector. This is to ensure that the sector continues to play its very important role in advancing the frontiers of knowledge for nation building.
Noting with pride the remarkable ingenuity, inventiveness, and innovativeness of Nigerians, the President challenged the Ministry of Science and Technology to create needed opportunities towards providing solutions to the problems of insecurity, joblessness, poverty, healthcare delivery, and power supply.
Certainly, if Nigerian potentials in the science and technology sector are properly harnessed, with the enabling environment created, we will take 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in the next 10 years. This remains my aim for Nigerians. There is no limit to how far Nigerian innovation can go. I am confident that working together in the pursuit of a common purpose, we shall succeed in our collective goal to build a great, peaceful, and prosperous nation.
President Buhari also made a case for the private sector to effectively partner and support institutions to carry out research in areas of greatest need for Nigeria. Senate President Ahmed Lawan represented and Speaker Femi Bajabiamila of the House of Representatives delivered messages of goodwill at the event. The Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, said apart from being at the center of all economic activities in the country, the science, technology, and innovation sector helped in creating over 900,000 jobs in the past 6 months of the next level administration and saving over 1 trillion naira in the importation of raw materials in both 2017 and 2018.
This journey is one that will take a long time for us to get to our destination. The good thing is that no matter how long it takes, if we work together, the end result is to transform our dear country into a truly great nation.
The Science, Technology and Innovation Expo, fourth in the series, brought together researchers, inventors, innovators, investors, and entrepreneurs with a common objective of showcasing scientific products that can be utilized towards creating jobs and wealth, stimulating economic growth, and unlocking the door of a prosperous future for the country. In Abuja, Adamu Sambu.
Adam Musambo there. Let's look at other issues. The National Executive Committee meeting of the governing All Progressives Congress scheduled to hold on Tuesday has been postponed. This is the outcome of a strategic meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari and members of the Progressives Governors Forum. Again, State House correspondent Adam Musambo has that report.
16 out of the 20 APC governors from across Nigeria attended a crucial meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari, who is the leader of the party. Discussions that lasted about 30 minutes behind closed doors centered on the leadership crisis rocking the governing party, its implications on governance, especially the implementation of the next level agenda of the Buhari presidency and the best way forward. Chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum and Governor of Kebbi State, Atiku Bagudu, spoke to newsmen after the meeting.
We discussed about party issue and show appreciation to Mr. President, how he has given access to each of us individually and collectively. And among the issues we discussed was the need with the resolution that the governors have taken to work together and resolve all the issues in the party, in our party. And also to seek Mr. President support to postpone the National Executive Council meeting that was scheduled for tomorrow until such a time that the governors are able to report back.
Has he agreed to that?
Yes.
No date has yet been fixed for the National Executive Committee meeting of the governing APC. From the State House, Adam Musambo, NTA News.
Let's bring you an update on COVID-19. The increasing spread of the coronavirus pandemic in countries has prompted Nigeria to review the country's case definition. Sequel to that, 3 new countries comprising France, Germany and Spain have been added to the existing list of 5 high-risk countries with spread community transmission. Minister of State for Health, Dr. Olorunimbe Mamora, announced this in Abuja when he updated the media on Nigeria's COVID-19 status. Let's hear from health correspondent Rabi Abdullah.
The dynamics of the coronavirus pandemic is the twist that has seen Europe taking over from China as the epicenter for COVID-19, making it inevitable for nations to keep reviewing strategies.
The fact that we have not put in place travel restriction today or at this point in time does not mean that if the realities on ground dictate that even before the end of the day, that will be announced. An interim case management guideline has been developed and disseminated to health workers. We are training health workers from all states in stages. This has been completed in Lagos and Ogun, well, apparently for obvious reasons.
Clearing the air on the suspected case in Enugu, which turned out negative. The minister also dispelled the rumors making the rounds that the African gene is immune to coronavirus disease.
I've heard even some of my old friends say, oh, the black man's gene is resistant. And so, COVID is not for us. Don't forget, some black men, even from Africa, even from Nigeria, they are dead now, unfortunately. We had the story of one doctor in Italy, in Nigeria.
With 2 confirmed cases in the country, emerging from a total of 48 people screened for COVID-19 in 8 states, out of which 47 turned out negative, including the 2nd confirmed case, who has now been cleared. The minister warned against complacency and misinformation. In Abuja, Rabi Abdullah, NTA News.
In another development, the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced 6 initial policy response to combat the impact of COVID-19 on the economy. Governor Godwin Emefiele say the first set of response was arrived at as a result of the CBN's understanding of the effect of the virus on the Nigerian people. Leah Katung Babatunde reports.
Countries around the world have been reacting to the economic impact of the coronavirus. The concerns have rattled markets from oil and gas to airlines, manufacturing, trade and consumer markets, prompting the Central Bank of Nigeria to react.
Governor Godwin Emefiele of the Central Bank of Nigeria announced 6 initial policy responses to combat COVID-19 scourge on the Nigerian economy. Now, these policies, of course, include extension of moratorium on loans, interest rate reduction on CBN's interventions from 9% to 5%, the creation of a 50 billion naira fund, credit support for healthcare sector, regulatory forbearance, and strengthening of loan-to-deposit rate policy.
After facing the realities of the health crisis, what we do expect is that there will be very serious economic crisis. Indeed, some are already saying that whether we like it or not, the global economy will certainly go into recession.
The governor explains how these policies would affect businesses not covered by the CBN's intervention.
We are saying if your loan was initially meant to be a, say, 3-year loan, where, for instance, you were paying on a monthly basis, say you took 10 million naira, you are paying, say, 100,000 naira as repayment, or a 3-year loan. We are saying we are going to grant the banks the dispensation where they can restructure your loan from 3 years to 6 years, such that in addition to low interest rates, what you'll be making in instrumental repayment of your loans would have dropped.
And the Monetary Policy Committee will be meeting here next week, and the governor, Emefiele, hints that decisions on the monetary policy rates would then be taken, but for now, he has no answers to that question. From the Central Bank of Nigeria building, I am Leah Katun Babatunde.
Many thanks, Leah, and let's get news on the foreign scene as we join Uche Ugochukwu.
A warm welcome. Several African countries have imposed far-reaching restrictions in a bid to curb the spread of coronavirus. South Africa announced a ban on travel from the worst affected countries and has banned gatherings of more than 100 people, while Kenya has also imposed sweeping travel restrictions. The measures are to prevent a major outbreak on a continent where at least 27 countries have so far been affected by the virus. Liberia has become the latest African nation to report a case of coronavirus. Ghana is one of the latest nations to ban entry to foreign visitors from countries badly impacted by the disease. Countries like Tanzania, Morocco, Libya, Algeria, Tunisia and Mozambique have also suspended all international flights. Still on COVID-19, Germany closes borders as European nations try to stem the spread of the coronavirus. Its borders with France, Austria and Switzerland were shut on Monday morning, except for commercial traffic. In the meantime, leaders of the G7 nations held a video conference to discuss a joint response to the coronavirus pandemic. That's it from here. Thanks for being a part of it. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
Thanks, Uche. The Buhari Media Organization has attributed Nigeria's efforts in handling of the coronavirus pandemic to the countermeasures approved by President Muhammadu Buhari. The media group in a statement said the Buhari's government was proactive early enough to stem the spread of the virus. The group stated that Nigerians have every reason to be proud of the country's handling of coronavirus and urged the citizenry to stick with government's advisories on the pandemic. It commended the National Center for Disease Control, Lagos and Ogun State governments on the steps taken since the presence of the virus in the country. In another development, the Buhari Media Organization has challenged the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, to explain how the $5 billion recovered from the family of the former head of state, General Sani Abacha, was spent between 1999 and 2015. The challenge to PDP from the media group is based on the revelation by the Attorney General of the Federation that the government has no record of expenditure of the Abacha loots recovered in the PDP years. In a statement signed by by its chairman, Niyi Akinshiju, the media group said Nigerians deserve to know how the previous government spent repatriated public funds. Without this explanation, BMO noted that Nigerians would be right to assume that PDP relooted Abacha loot that was returned to the country between 1999 and 2015. Right, let's take a break. We'll be back shortly, so stay tuned.
Today or 4 days when my girls won't come visit me, I need to come go expire.
Oh, my guys, they can't follow me watch this match. I must not fall their hand. Hey.
Babe, what's happening now? Sorry to disappoint you, but my subscription don't expire.
The match is not on my GoTV package.
Now your holla be that. I beg, give me your phone. I can show you how you go take do it for my GoTV app for your phone.
Life is so much easier with my GoTV app. Make payments, clear error messages, change your package. You can also check your due dates and keep abreast of your payment history. The new My GoTV app is everything you need in one place. So what are you waiting for? Download My GoTV app now from Google Play or App Store to enjoy the easy life. GoTV. Live it, love it.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
Thanks for staying tuned. The federal government has flagged off a national integrated medical outreach program in the FCT. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo at the occasion says the program is aimed at sustaining the country's strategy on immunization that has led to appreciable achievements and to further improve primary healthcare services in the country. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
As Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who flags off the program on behalf of the president, says Nigeria, and indeed Africa, is on the verge of being declared polio-free, and this is expected few months from now as a result of effective implementation of the national immunization program, but agrees with medical experts that despite the efforts so far, there is a significant gap in bringing public health services to vulnerable populations, especially in the rural areas in the country.
The federal government is fully responsible for providing the required immunization, vaccines, in collaboration with our global partners to ensure consistent and sustainable availability of life-saving vaccines for all eligible children in Nigeria. We would ensure in the next couple of months that rotavirus and human papilloma virus vaccines are introduced into the national immunization schedule to prevent childhood diarrheal diseases and to reduce the incidence of cervical cancer in women. It is the firm commitment of the federal government of Nigeria that no child or individual should be without access to life-saving vaccines and primary health care services.
Medical experts in the country are of the view that child immunization has increased and reduced the number of child mortality. They, however, explained that there are indicators that significant number of children still die before the age of 5, hence the need for governments at all levels to increase the implementation of immunization program and ensure that every child is immunized.
The program's objectives are, amongst others, to reach underserved populations with basic medical and surgical services, to curtail the paralysis of circulating vaccine-derived poliovirus infections.
While we continue to make progress towards strengthening the health system, opportunities like the Integrated Medical Outreach Program provide unique platforms for the health system to bridge the gaps and make sure no one is left behind in the journey towards universal health coverage.
My advice to you is to ensure that just as the plan is good, your resolve to implement the program should also be upright.
The apparent good performance of the Federal Capital Territory is in most indices is still below the minimum acceptable targets, and we have to do more.
Here in Buhari, the conduct of the first round of the Integrated Medical Outreach Program has been flagged off for the unreached, underserved and vulnerable communities in 409 selected local government areas
in the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
In other news, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State has formally briefed President Muhammadu Buhari on the gas explosion that rocked part of Lagos State, leaving in its wake the destruction of lives and valuable property. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo will tell us more.
Mr. President was very gracious to receive me and to ask me about where we are and what has happened.
Armed with various pictures on the unfortunate Sunday morning incident in Abuja, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu showed President Muhammadu Buhari the extent and the level of destruction suffered by Lagosians as a result of the gas and pipeline explosion, which he described as better imagined. He told the president that a high-powered committee led by the deputy governor of the state has been set up to come up with full report on the immediate and remote causes of the incident, what can be done to avert future occurrence, as well as set up an emergency relief fund in aid of the victims.
Say for a 2 billion fund that we believe might not speak to all of the things, but at least it will begin to speak to all of the immediate challenges. And the state government immediately have instructed that 250 million naira should be set aside and put into that fund. Before I left too, I had given instruction that Loma, Neighborhood Watch, and also Lasema, they've immediately set in motion a cleaning up exercise, because we now need to begin to do restoration and restoration of the entire environment. So that, I imagine, had started now, so that we can begin to bring back some element of normalcy back to those communities.
Describing the incident as unprecedented in Lagos State, Governor Sanwo-Olu said his administration will henceforth be firm and fair on matters relating to public safety and security. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
In a related development, the Ministry for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is working with relevant stakeholders to provide national guidelines on industrial disasters such as pipeline explosion, and will carry out pipeline safety sensitization programs in communities through which pipelines passes. This is contained in a statement by the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, in reaction to the oil pipeline explosion around Abule-Ado in Amuwa or Dofin local government area of Lagos State, which affected the residents of Ijegun, Ikotun, Egbeda, Abule-Ado, Okota, Isheri Olofin, Festac and satellite towns. She said on receiving the news of the explosion, the ministry, through its National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, activated the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, and other local respondents at the scene, with a view to rendering any assistance and disaster management expertise that may be required. The minister said while the industrial disaster is very unfortunate, she is gratified to hear of the rapid response which involved LASEMA, NEMA, the fire services around Badagry and Festac, as well as some fire services belonging to some banks. While the relevant authorities are working to ascertain the number of lives lost, she sends her commiserations to the Lagos State government, families of the deceased, and all other affected persons and organizations that have suffered losses in one form or the other, including the schools located close to the point of explosion. Let's look at the judiciary. Justice Okon Agbang of the Federal High Court Abuja is to rule on the application for further bail variation for the former chairman of the Pension Reform Tax Team, Abdulrasheed Maina, on Tuesday, 17th of March 2020. Austin Ayumbe reports that the adjournment followed argument on the application by parties.
The application for further variation of bail by the defense team followed the inability of the first defendant, Abdulrasheed Maina, to meet the earlier bail conditions varied from 1 billion naira to 500 million naira, including a surety of a senator to be reporting to court every day. Part of these conditions is difficult to be met, as explained by the defense counsel Joe Gazama, senior advocate of Nigeria, who prayed the court to exercise its discretion for further review, saying the defendant cannot defend himself from court under the present circumstance. The prosecution counsel Mohammed Abubakar opposed the application, saying Maina cannot be trusted if given a liberal bail condition, as he resides outside Nigeria, more so that he holds American passports. Earlier, the sixth prosecution witness, a banker with Fidelity Bank PLC, told the court that he was in the know of the defendant's financial transactions in the bank from 2010 when he was introduced to the defendant by his colleague Khalid Aliu, who allegedly happened to manage several accounts opened by the defendant using other people's names. The prosecution witness, who led the witness in evidence, sought to tender documents from the bank to buttress his case, but was opposed by the defense counsel. Justice Okon Bank therefore adjourned the matters to 17th March 2020 for ruling on further bail variation and continuation of trial. From the Federal High Court, Abuja, I'm Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
And still talking judiciary, the Abuja division of the Court of Appeal has ordered a stay of execution of the ruling by the Federal High Court Abuja that suspended Adams Oshomole as the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, pending the determination of the suit filed by Adams Oshomole. The appellate court, in a ruling by a three-man panel of justices led by Justice Yahaya Datijo, issued an interlocutory injunction restraining the respondents from taking steps to give effect to the High Court ruling, pending the determination of appeals filed before it by counsel to Oshomole. The court wants political parties to resolve their differences amicably without resorting to the court. The court subsequently fixed Thursday to hear the two appeals. The order of the appellate court was in response to an ex parte application Oshomole filed through his team of lawyers led by Chief Wole Olanikwekun, SAN. And talking sports, television stations in Nigeria, including the NTA, are now to pay the forthcoming National Sports Festival Edo 2020. This was contained in a statement issued by Chairman of the Marketing Subcommittee of the festival, Mike Itemuagbo. This announcement is at variance with a commitment made to the NTA by the Edo State Deputy Governor, Philip Shuaibu, who doubles as the chairman of the local organizing committee. In this report, Kenei Ma'abodike examines the issues at stake.